Sidechaining is a powerful technique used in music production. It involves using one audio signal to control another, creating dynamic and rhythmic effects that can transform your tracks. This technique can add a sense of movement and energy to your music, making it more engaging for listeners. By ducking the volume of one track when another plays, sidechaining helps to create space and clarity in your mix. Sidechaining might sound complicated, but it's actually quite simple once you understand the basics. Essentially, it's about making one sound react to another. For example, you can make a bass line lower in volume every time the kick drum hits, allowing the kick to punch through the mix. Think of it as a special effect for your audio that can be used creatively to enhance the overall sound. It's like having an automatic volume control that responds to the rhythm of your track. Imagine a DJ lowering the music volume when they speak. That's sidechaining in action. This technique ensures that the DJ's voice is heard clearly over the music, creating a professional and polished sound. In music production, sidechaining is used to create space and clarity in our mixes. By controlling the interaction between different elements, we can make sure that each part of the track is heard clearly, without clashing with others. It's especially popular in genres like EDM, where the kick drum needs to cut through the mix. However, sidechaining can be used in any genre to achieve a cleaner and more professional sound. Sidechaining can make your music sound more professional and polished. By using this technique, you can ensure that your tracks have the right balance and dynamics, making them more enjoyable to listen to. It's a tool used by many famous producers to achieve their signature sound. Whether you're working on a club track or a pop hit, sidechaining can help you create a mix that stands out. By the end of this essay, you'll know how to use sidechaining effectively in your own music productions. We'll cover the basics, explore different techniques, and provide practical examples to help you get started. So, let's dive in and discover the power of sidechaining. So, how does sidechaining actually work? It involves using a compressor, a common tool in music production. A compressor controls the volume of an audio track. Sidechaining uses one sound to trigger the compressor on another sound. Think of it like a chain reaction. The first sound creates a chain reaction that affects the second sound. Let's say you have a kick drum and a bass line. With sidechaining, you can make the bass line's volume lower every time the kick drum hits. This creates a pumping effect that adds rhythm and groove to your music. The pumping effect is a classic sidechaining technique widely used in modern music production, especially in genres like EDM, house, and pop. This technique has become a staple in creating dynamic and engaging tracks that keep listeners hooked. It's that iconic sound in many EDM tracks where the music seems to breathe in sync with the beat, creating a sense of movement and energy that drives the dance floor wild. DJs and producers rely on this effect to maintain the rhythm and flow of their sets. The pumping effect makes the music feel alive and energetic, giving it a pulsating quality that resonates with the audience. This effect is not just about volume changes, it's about creating an immersive experience that makes people want to move. It's all about creating a rhythmic pulse that aligns with the beat of the track. This rhythmic pulse is what gives the music its driving force, making it feel more cohesive and powerful. The pumping effect can be subtle or pronounced, depending on the desired outcome. To get the pumping effect, we use a compressor with a sidechain input. This allows us to control the dynamics of one audio signal based on the level of another. By using a sidechain input, we can make the compressor react to a specific element in the mix, such as the kick drum. This special input lets us control the compressor with a different audio signal, giving us the flexibility to shape the sound in creative ways. By routing the kick drum to the sidechain input, we can make the compressor respond to the kick's rhythm, creating that signature pumping effect. We'll route the kick drum to the sidechain input of the compressor on the bass line. This setup ensures that every time the kick drum hits, it triggers the compressor on the bass line, causing the bass to duck in volume momentarily. Now every time the kick drum hits, it will trigger the compressor on the bass line. This interaction between the kick drum and the bass line creates a rhythmic interplay that enhances the groove of the track, making it more engaging and danceable. This will cause the bass line's volume to duck down, creating that pumping effect. The result is a dynamic and rhythmic sound that adds excitement and energy to the music, making it irresistible to listeners and dancers alike. The pumping effect is a powerful tool in the producer's arsenal, capable of transforming a simple track into a dance floor anthem. Let's put the pumping effect into practice. This technique is widely used in various genres of music, especially in electronic dance music, to create a rhythmic, dynamic feel. By manipulating the volume of one track based on the input from another, you can achieve a compelling, pulsating sound that adds energy and movement to your mix. First, add a compressor to your bassline track. The compressor is a crucial tool in this process as it will control the dynamics of the bassline based on the input from the kick drum. Make sure you choose a compressor that allows for sidechain input, as this is essential for the pumping effect. Then, find the sidechain input on the compressor. This input will allow the compressor to react to the kick drum's signal, causing the bass line to duck in volume whenever the kick drum hits. This interaction between the kick and bass line is what creates the characteristic pumping effect. It might be labeled sidechain or have a small arrow symbol. Different compressors may have different ways of indicating the sidechain input, so take a moment to familiarize yourself with the interface of your chosen plugin. Now, route your kick drum to the sidechain input of the compressor. This step is crucial as it sets up the relationship between the kick drum and the bass line. When the kick drum hits, it will trigger the compressor to reduce the volume of the bass line, creating the desired pumping effect. You can do this by selecting the kick drum track as the sidechain source in the compressor's settings. This tells the compressor to listen to the kick drum and adjust the bass line's volume accordingly. Make sure the routing is correct to ensure the effect works as intended. Experiment with the compressor's attack and release settings. The attack setting determines how quickly the compressor responds to the kick drum, while the release setting controls how long it takes for the bass line's volume to return to normal after the kick drum hits. A fast attack will make the bass line duck down quickly, creating a more pronounced pumping effect. This can add a lot of energy to your track, making it feel more dynamic and engaging, while a slower attack will create a smoother effect. This can be useful if you want a more subtle pumping effect that doesn't overpower the rest of your mix. The release controls how quickly the bass line's volume returns to normal. A shorter release time will make the pumping effect more noticeable, while a longer release time will create a more gradual volume change. Experiment with different settings to find the perfect balance for your track. Once you've dialed in the attack and release settings, listen to the overall mix. The pumping effect should add a rhythmic, dynamic quality to your track, making it more engaging and energetic. Don't be afraid to tweak the settings further until you achieve the desired sound. Finally, save your project and enjoy the results. The pumping effect is a powerful tool in music production, and with practice, you'll be able to use it to enhance your tracks and create professional-sounding mixes. Section 5. The ducking effect. The ducking effect is another popular sidechaining technique. It's used to create space and clarity in a mix. Imagine you have vocals and background music playing at the same time. With ducking, we can make the background music lower in volume whenever the vocals are present. This makes the vocals stand out more clearly in the mix. It's like the music is politely making room for the vocals to shine. Ducking is a great way to improve the overall balance and clarity of your mix. It's a subtle effect, but it can make a big difference. Section 6. Applying the ducking effect. To apply the ducking effect, we'll use the same sidechaining principle. This time, we'll route the vocal track to the sidechain input of a compressor on the background music track. Adjust the compressor's settings so that the background music ducks down in volume whenever the vocals are present. You might need to experiment to find the sweet spot where the effect is noticeable, but not too distracting. You can use ducking with any instruments or sounds. For example, you could use it to make a lead synth stand out more clearly against a pad sound. Section 7. Tips and tricks. Here are a few tips and tricks to help you get the most out of sidechaining. Don't overdo it. Start with subtle settings and gradually increase the intensity until you find the sweet spot. Use a high-pass filter. Applying a high-pass filter to the sidechain signal can help prevent low frequencies from triggering the compressor unnecessarily. This can result in a cleaner and tighter sound. Listen in context. Always listen to your sidechain tracks in the context of the full mix to ensure that they're working well together. Section 8. Creative sidechaining. Sidechaining isn't just limited to pumping and ducking effects. You can use it creatively to create all sorts of interesting and unique sounds. For example, you could try sidechaining a synth to a drum loop to create a rhythmic texture. Sidechaining a vocal to a white noise burst to create a gated effect. Sidechaining a guitar to a synthesizer to create a rhythmic pulsating sound. The possibilities are endless. Don't be afraid to experiment and see what you can come up with. Section 9. Conclusion: experiment and explore. Sidechaining is a versatile and powerful tool that can add a whole new dimension to your music. It's a fundamental technique used by countless producers across all genres. Don't be afraid to experiment and explore the creative possibilities of sidechaining. Now that you understand the basics of sidechaining, it's time to start practicing. Open up your DAW, load up your favorite plugins, and start experimenting with different sidechaining techniques. You might be surprised at what you can create. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more tutorials.